Alright, YouTube, this is another one of my Design With Me's. Again, thank you for joining me. My name is Alex. I am the designer from Oh Hello, or one of two. The other is Kayla. If you guys know who we are, cool, thanks for joining us again. And if you're a first-time viewer just kind of goofing around on the internet, cool, that's awesome too. First thing that every designer needs to have is whatever they're drinking. This today is a cup of tea, not coffee. I know. It's a little late in the day for coffee. So we're ready to go. This topic of this video is how to take a drawing or something tangible in the real world and then to vectorize and color it and do all that kind of stuff. So this is truly illustration. My mother was so kind. She's always been a doodler. She's been so kind to do a series for us of a ton of doodling. It's going to be a ton of work, so you won't probably actually see it in our shop, ohhelloco.com, for a bit, because I have so much to do, but you're going to at least see me do one. It's almost Christmas time, so I thought it'd be good to make a little Christmas card. So she's done a whole bunch of these, and I can't tell you how excited I am. I've got this one, I've got like Santa Claus and a sweatshirt, Rudolph. She's just got so many, but we're going to start with the good old Christmas tree because I think it's a good one to kind of start with. Now, you might want to prep your file in Photoshop, which I haven't done. Because I just figured I'd try to do it all in here. But what Photoshop would let you do is here you can never see me point the screen. My bad, guys. Using my mouse like an adult, you can see how there's some smudges, like it was erased here, and you can see how she's erased a few times. In Photoshop, there's a few things you can do, mostly using threshold to clean this image up, which would make it easier in here. But I'll show you. I'm going to try and do it without that, just to show you that it can be done. Okay, first thing is, if you notice, you can change up here what's the layout of your Illustrator. So automation. So if I was trying to record things and like if I'm going to change colors constantly, this is something else I should probably show you guys in another video. But this is a great way. There's tons of different setups for depending on how you're using Illustrator. Are you using Illustrator for painting and layout, printing, proofings? But we're using for tracing. Or at least that's what this is called. So pull up the trace. I normally actually just leave this up because it has most of the features I actually really need. And image trace. So you select your image, so it's got the blue around it, and you can trace. And there's different sets. And so default, you can do a high fidelity photo. So this is, if you were trying to take a photo and turn it into a vector, and have it look as photorealistic as you can, this is what you want to do. This also is the slowest, most incredibly difficult way to do things, but it will give you the best results. But since we actually don't want all that information in this, I'm just trying to trace the outline. We're going to go with, let's just try sketched art. And yeah, it's going to take a little slow. So it's going to go ahead. And I normally don't use the presets, so we'll see how this looks. And this is a big part of it, is just kind of goofing around. So that's not too bad. We lose a little bit of detail in it, and so I'm going to click on the advanced features to see what's actually going on. So we're in black and white. We're viewing tracing results, but see what this means is how you can view just the outlines. So here you can see that when you zoom in, they didn't make a path. It went left and right of the line, which isn't horrible. It just means that when you get down to like this teddy bear down here, we're going to lose some of that information that was there before. Sorry for my phone. And then you can change or you can again change. That's the outline with the image behind it to kind of see how that looks. And the reason why one would want to do that is you can actually tweak these settings. So here you can see the outline, the image is behind it. We want maybe more paths. So it's going to try and smooth out the edges more. So it's going to take a second. And here you can see it's trying to get a little better in there. We could do less paths. We could do more corners. We could do, there's a little more noise. So, and this is, honestly, just goof around with this. This is also another thing that I found helpful is that do you want it to create a fill, which means it's going to create the shape. So for example, I'll kind of give you an idea. Here's a circle, and you can make the stroke is that black line. The fill is the line in between. And the reason why it's important to know the difference between that and, let's say, a shape like this is that you can do very different things with these two items. For example, if I wanted to thicken the line here, I can thicken the line on the stroke, but I can't thicken the line on the fill. So there is no line, it's only going to be the shape, but I could do that here. So I don't know if that's really conveying well, but all I'm saying is that, like, let's say, for example, we want to color in the teddy bear quickly. I will only get to color in the parts that are dark, where if it's a line drawing, I can color in what's bounded by that line. I think that's a much better way to explain it. So we're going to go back to here. And so it's saying create filled regions. What I want is create stroke regions, not fill. Let's see what happens there. Take away the fill. And now it's trying to just put lines over the art that you've done. So again, if we were in Photoshop, it would be really, really nice because I could have gone in and made these colors way darker and done a little bit of editing that would have helped Illustrator handle this way. So yeah, this is the trying to figure out what we want to do here. The presets are nice, black and white logo, shades of gray, line art, so maybe that might be one we want to goof around with and just see what they have. So this is a big messing around bit, but the most important things are, yeah, see, I kind of like that a little more. And that's just the stroke line, so you're going to be getting, you're going to be able to adjust things a little easier too. Snap curve to lines. What does that do? It freezes my computer apparently. Nope, still recording over there. Okay, also, why it's processing, because I don't have the world's fastest computer. We got our t-shirts in! And I'm really excited about it. There's a big poppy on the side too. So it's going to try and replace the curves with the lines that you've drawn. Not something I'm super worried about. But now let's tweak these settings. Oh man. This is the only issue with tracing, is that you need, and most computers can do it. If you're running Illustrator, you can probably do it, but it does take a lot of computing power, and it can cause your machine to freak out a little like mine. So there we go. So yeah, threshold, as it says, pixels darker than threshold values are converted to black. So what you're doing is saying, remember how there's those erase marks that I told you about? Threshold will say, okay, if the image is 10% gray and lighter, we're going to call that white, right? Because there's paper, maybe your scanner went wrong, maybe there was a glitch, so we're going to call that white. So threshold's really important because the more you have of threshold, I think less lines. Oh, come on. I just get them confused. One way, it's like 10% gray and lighter. There you go. So the more threshold, the more lines that are going to come in. Because more, like, it's going to let, like, light grays will turn to black rather than just disappear. So you can see the difference between those two things. Sorry, I'm umming a lot right now. You can see the difference between the two. We got a lot of really good data in here, but it's a little too much. Actually, I think it's going to make it look a little too busy on the tree. And it's not a perfect science. So another thing to remember when you're drawing, if you're going to go this route, if you're trying to get a sketch into Illustrator, go over everything in pencil, draw in pencil, do your sketch, and then if you have a solid hand, take a felt tip pen or just a regular pen and outline the shape, or go over with your pencil and go as dark as you can around the edges. Now, if you just have a regular sketch, I mean, this would still work. You can see what we started with, and I think we've got a pretty good point here. In fact, I'm gonna say we've done it, by Jove. Okay, so next you're gonna click expand, and what that does is that basically takes the shape. You got all your settings down, and that's gonna draw it out. It's actually gonna process it so you can actually do stuff with it. So now it's drawn the lines. It's added all the points. but it automatically groups them together. So you're like, why can't I just move this little, excuse me, why can't I move this little star around or color it in or do any of that fun stuff? And that's because it's grouped together. So you're going to click it, you're going to right click, you're going to ungroup, and now all of a sudden we've got movable parts. I can adjust things around. Maybe I didn't want these lines there. I can, move them over, make some copies. So now we are starting to actually get into the designing phase. And this is a very complicated one, so that's why I brought it in here. You'll probably get the gist of it real quick, and then you probably won't even need me. So let's make these yellow. And I did a boo-boo. I didn't pick color swatches, which if you know me, I'm all about having a color swatch ready to go. So you've seen how to color it in. I can go ahead and do that, for the whole thing and make it Christmas tree-like and go through. What the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a little bit of repair down here on the teddy bear to kind of show you how that looks. Essentially, direct select tool, take anything that's broken. So this guy just broken. This little dot here needs to go away. I don't like the curve on that ear, so I'm going to adjust it out a little, give it a little better ear definition. I don't like that line. I don't know what's going on with this line, those dots. Kind of looks like his mouth is hanging out, so I'm kind of just going to clean it up because it didn't come through. Even though the drawing was fine, it didn't just come through because of the program. And I could have probably sat there for another hour or two and tried to get it perfect, but why? When I can just come in and maybe add a little bit of my own flair to it. So here's one. I need this line on the side, but I don't want it to go all the way up on the nose. So we're going to add a point here because that's where I want it to break. Take the direct select tool, also A, and I'm going to select the point, and I'm actually going to snip it, which is basically cutting the rope or cutting your path. Take the select tool, so now we have that part, and deleting it, and now we have that. So I've been able to save myself a little bit of the original drawing. And then we're just going to give it a nice little teddy bear head. And I'm going to hand draw the eyes to keep in theme of like non-perfect circles, because honestly, that's just going to look wrong if I just do two circles. So, and I don't actually think they're circles, so we're going to go back. We're going to go with the original. We're going to look at the eyes of what my mother originally intended. So she wanted a round nose and a little mouth and a little belly button. So I'm going to try and recreate those eyes here. And so I'm going to put that on my second screen, which you guys can't see, sorry. And I'm going to just try and redraw these eyes. So she did, it looks like one line across the bottom. Another thing is that because these are strokes, you can make them thinner and thicker and adjust the lines. So far everything's been the same because I kind of think that's a good look, but we'll go ahead and go with that for now because I think it needs a little more detail. So there we go. We've recovered our little guy pretty well. So the next thing to do is sometimes you're going to have an open shape like this Christmas tree where just filling in the path isn't going to work for you. And the reason is you've got all this other stuff. You can see how like the Christmas ball is getting eaten up into this line, and just throwing in a fill path that's just not going to work, right? So what do you do now? Again, you can either take your pen tool and trace inside the lines, or take your handy dandy brush tool, and you can do this. Go in. I normally would use the pen tool. The one thing when you're doing traced images that you'll find is, see how, I guess it's a little hard to see. Well, I guess, lean in close, kids. Okay, on my pen, you can see that this is actually the end of a line, and that's because it's got that slant line. When I move it around, it's got a terse, and then all of a sudden it's got this slant line, and that slant line means continue on that same path. So now I'm continuing the path that's there rather than starting a new one. And the same thing holds when you go hover over. You can remove a line or remove a point when it's got the minus sign. All very good things, except for when you're trying to like trace underneath it, you might accidentally end up clicking and joining paths. So I'm actually going to use the brush tool. And remember, it doesn't matter what color you use here, because you can always go back and change it. But we're just going to pick a green just so it's not horrible. And we're going to blob the whole gosh darn thing. And what's cool is it won't blend in with what's already there. So I can still move it around and not affect it. But I can go back and continue affecting the blobs together, because it's going to always merge them together. So let's go ahead, green outline, take my little blobby brush tool. There's a proper name for this, blob brush tool. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And I'm going to, as long as there's, and it doesn't need to be perfect for this one, I kind of want the colors to kind of come out of the lines a little. So if I go over a little, it's going to be okay for me. And if I don't go in, and the reason is I'm trying to, you know, preserve the integrity of the hand-drawn shape. But I will show you guys, I promise, how this all makes sense, and that I'm not just destroying this image in this process. Alright, so now take this, we're going to do the same thing, arrange, send it back. Whoop. We've got a colored in Christmas tree. And see, so like here there's kind of some loose parts. It would look weird if it came all the way in, so I kind of took some liberties. But for the most part, it's pretty in, pretty close, but there's a little bit of falling out, which I think adds to kind of that hand-drawn feel, which I really like. I actually super in love with the tree. Also, I don't know if you noticed, my mom has signed everything, but it didn't come through real clean. So I'm all about my mom getting a little bit of recognition. You want to talk about a woman who does not get enough of it, that's my mother. So now what we'll probably do is we'll either turn this into a sticker for your planning pleasure, or we'll turn this into a Christmas card and be like, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Yeah, there you go. I did another one. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you like this, hit the like button. If you hate this, hit the dislike button. Don't do it. How about we just don't do that one? And subscribe. Just subscribe. Just do it. It doesn't cost you anything. It makes us feel good about ourselves, and I'll make more videos if you do it. So just, it's right here. Look, I'm practically doing it for you. I'm probably on the wrong side of the screen. Now I've got both ends covered. Yeah. So just go ahead and hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. If you guys want anything else designed, let me know. Also, remember, I'm by no means a professional. I'm self-taught. So yeah, if you know a better way, let me know. And if you want to know something, I will figure it out and come back next week and show you. Thank you guys. Bye.